All right, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. This is episode 138, and my guest tonight was gonna be Fabrizio Aiello, but he's not feeling good. He's sick. So, we got a guest cancellation, which means we got open lines tonight. I'm gonna be putting the link in right there. So if you guys want to join the show, whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about it. I've only got an hour or so, though, because I still want to get some more packages out. You know, it's that time of year. Every day counts. So I still want to get to packing up some stuff, get some stuff out to you guys. And also, hopefully, if I got some time, maybe I'll work on a commission or two. What am I doing with commissions? Well, let me share that with you guys. Actually, before I do that, how rude of me. Let's say hello to those of you in the chat. We got Spicer McLeroy here. What's up, Spicer? I actually sent a package out to you today, so I'll show you what's on there in just a second. Actually, it was fun working on your cover. Ben, what's up, Ben? Thank you for being here tonight. Jason Duran is here. What's up, Jason? Arthur in the house as well. What's up, Arthur? Dr. Mask is here. How's it going, Doc? We got Ronan, Michael Smith here. What's up, Michael? Grape Nuka-Cola here, too. What's up, Grape Nuka-Cola? Excuse me. AL, what's up, AL? Hope you're doing good. Thank you for being here. Ronan says, let's talk cryptids. We'll talk whatever you guys want to talk about. I got maybe just a little bit of stuff to talk to you guys about, and then the rest is your playing field. AL says, I'm sorry to hear Fabrizio is feeling under the weather. I was looking forward to hearing more about his creations, but I hope he gets better soon. Yeah, I hope so too. He is the writer, creator, artist, letterer of Horace H. Hoover. So if you guys want to check that book out, it's at Alterna Comics. So you guys could go to alternacomics.com. Issues 1 and 2 are on that site. Charlie, what's up? Thank you for being here tonight. Spaceman coming down from above says, sorry to hear that, Pete. Still looking forward to a good conversation. Always love coming down for my comic book radio fix. Appreciate that. Gerald Lang is here. What's up, Gerald? Hope you're doing good. We got Cole King here, too. What's up, Cole? Spicer, no, we can't do a 4-hour show tonight. We can't do a 4-hour show. The last time I did one of these, I said it would be like a half hour, an hour. And it went to like 2.5 hours, something like that, right? I can't do that. I got to do 1 hour. I got to do an hour. So hopefully we will have guests on. We'll have a couple good conversations, and that'll be that. I'll be back tomorrow night. AL, you mailed me something. All right, awesome. I'll look out for it. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. God and Monsters with J.D. Gunter. What's up, Gods and Monsters? Heat Miser says, got the painted King Cryptid I won in the auction. Looks great. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I'm going to be attempting one of the 3-inch ones, because that's going to be more of the mainstream line based on the 3-inch tall King Cryptid. We'll have a 4-inch Behemoth, and figures will all be based on that 3-inch size of King Cryptid. So I'm gonna try my best. It's small. It was tough for me to get used to painting up the 5-inch one, but I'm gonna try. We'll see how it goes. Buddha Bear, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Comics Mate is here as well. What's up? Spaceman says, Pete, have you watched Forbidden Frontier on Nerdrotic's channel? I've catched. Look at me. I've caught a show or two. Watched. I'm thinking caught and watched at the same time. Yeah, I've caught a show or two. Definitely. Randy Scribner, what's up, Randy? Thank you for being here. And Dr. Ben says, hey, Peter, what up, chat? All right, so let me show you guys this. And Spicer, if you haven't seen this yet, I guess I'm going to spoil the surprise a bit. But that is your sketch cover right there, Spicer. So you'll be having this in just a few days. But this got sent out in the mail today, along with a few other things you had purchased. So thank you very much, sir. And this one was fun. I had some fun with it. I'm getting back in the groove again of drawing, and I had some fun with this one last night. Did this whole King Cryptid thing. You got the behemoth in the barcode area. You got King Cryptid kind of running, sort of, in the top corner. And, the more you draw, the more you get used to it again. And doing these quick sketches that I've been doing the past couple of days has really helped with that. So I hope you dig it when you get it, and that it arrives there safe and sound. Awesome. I'm glad you like it. Thank you, man. And thank you for commissioning me to do that. Really appreciate it, especially right now. Couple of unexpected emergency type bills popping up out of nowhere. And it seems like it's this time of year, right? Where it's just, one after the other. Very nice. So really appreciate you guys getting some art from me. It means a lot. Dr. Mask says, by the way, Pete, the snowman card is amazing that you did. Already made it into an ornament. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure. I hope your wife loves it. And thank you guys for making that a part of your Christmas. So I have a couple other things to show you guys too, because tomorrow is the last day that I'm accepting 1 minute and 5 minute sketch card requests. You can email me at publishingpete@gmail.com to get your request in, and we'll work out payment info. I take PayPal, Square, and Stripe if you're interested. Just a couple spots left on the 5 minute card. Those are $25, and maybe 40 or so spots left out of the 100 on the 1 minute. And the 1 minute card is $5. So here's a couple examples of these things in the past. This is a few days old. I have to update what's left. There's like maybe 2, I think, 5 minute spots left, and there's maybe like 43 1 minute spots left. So hopefully you guys can see this. These are 5 minute card examples. These are a few years old. I'll show you a couple that I just did recently. So these are a few years old, the 5 minute ones. The biggest difference is on the 5 minute ones, and even the 1 minute ones that I'm doing this time around. I'm going to have some gray marker in there, gray Copic marker. So some washes. So you got a couple characters there, just to give you an idea of the 5 minute quick head sketch kind of thing. All right, some more 5 minute sketches here. And these were done, like I said, years ago. And then we got a couple 1 minute ones. They're sketchier, they're looser. I get as much done as possible. If you're wondering, okay, how am I quantifying 1 minute and 5 minute? All right, so when I take, as soon as I'm counting it as I'm drawing it, counting to 60. You're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it sounds annoying. It's inside my head. I don't do it out loud. I'd probably drive my wife crazy if I did that. But when I take the pen or the whatever off, the marker off, I stop counting. So if I'm looking up a reference for a character in the middle of something to be like, oh, oops, I don't know how that looks, I don't count. So only when I'm drawing, the minute counts. Taking a marker, a cap off, on, etc., erasing something, doesn't count. Only when I'm drawing it counts. So that's why I can get these done in a minute. So these are a minute. These are super, super quick. And then and I've gotten quicker over the years, so things will look a bit better. And then there's a minute as well. So again, the 1 minutes are $5. Shipping is free worldwide. Free worldwide. So wherever you are, $5. And they come in an envelope, in a top loader, and sent to you. And then $25 for the 5 minute. Now here are more recent examples. And I had to actually go back and tweak the Cyclops. I had a lot of time left on the Cyclops, and I was like, because 2 people requested Cyclops. And then Randy, Randy Scribner had requested a Cyclops that's a like of myth and legend, not of X-Men variety. So I was confused as to whether or not at the time when I was doing these, I was like, one of them requested Cyclops with like smoke coming out of the visor. And of course it was this individual. So I went back in later, and I had a bunch of time left, and I was like, I feel like there's something missing. So I just 3 seconds smoke. So the final official one is going to have smoke in the visor, but I took these pictures before. So here we have a 1 minute Daredevil and a 5 minute Cyclops, so you guys could see. And then also, again, I got some gray marker in there. As you guys can see, they're different from the older ones. A 1 minute Krampus, and that's what Krampus is going to look like coming up in King Cryptid next year. And then a 1 minute Zeta Reticulum, which is going to be in King Cryptid issue 8. Krampus will be on next year's campaign, not on the issues that are current. We'll have Santa and Krampus in an issue with King Cryptid. What happens, you'll find out. We got a lot of time to talk about it. So, again, 1 minute on the Krampus, 5 minutes on the Alien. Sometimes these, I got, especially when I'm going with the 1 minute, and then I'll go to the 5, and I'm like, I maybe have an extra 30 seconds or a minute or so, and so I take a little more time with it and try to be cleaner. But depending on the character, there's some of them that really put the 5 minutes to the test, or even the 1 minute. They're going to be tough to get down anything. So you might go like, why is that one so sketchy? 1 minute. That's a 1 minute one. That's a $5 1 minute sketch, and then the other one's a 5 minute $25 sketch. So again, depending what character you want, it's any character at all whatsoever. It's up to you. It doesn't have to be Alterna. It doesn't have to be King Cryptid. If you guys want one, let me know. These are not 5 minute cards. This one probably took closer to maybe a half hour. This is a card that that Buddha Bear had requested at the last Alterna Comics auction, which was the Bear Orion, which is in King Cryptid issue 4 and will be in issue 5 as well. On Christmas morning with a Santa hat. So there you go, Buddha Bear. That's for you. This was a fun one to do. And I'm going to do a couple more for Buddha Bear as well. So I'll be shipping all of those together to you. I'll be getting those 1 minute cards that you had requested tomorrow. So, Buddha Bear, if you want a 5 minute card, get it tonight or tomorrow. And then I will ship it out to you all in one shot. I'll get all those cards done. Again, if you guys want one, let me know. publishandpete@gmail.com. I take PayPal, Square, Stripe, all that good stuff. We'll work something out. $25 for the 5 minute card and $5 for the 1 minute card. These are not 5 minutes though. These would be more. I'm not taking these particularly right now, but I got a lot of cards to draw, and I haven't drawn this much in a while, even with the King Cryptid campaign last year. I think I did 20 to 30 cards, maybe. I'm doing way more than that on these requests, and thank you guys, too. Again, it's really helping me out of a tough spot right now, especially this time of year, goodness. So I'm really thinking I'm going to start offering these up again more consistently next year. But I want to get through this batch. My goal is to get all of these out before the end of the year. I wish I could get them all out in time for the holiday, but it's not going to happen. Some of you might be lucky enough to get these in time, but the last mail day is a Saturday, so it's cutting it close. If you're getting these for Christmas gifts on the day, I can't guarantee that. So I would advise not doing that. Get these like for yourself or for someone later on, or someone who's patient in regards to getting their Christmas gift, doesn't mind waiting a couple of days. But I'm going to try to get all of these done before the end of the year. So here is Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. So this one's for Brian Suddenly Old. He had won an Alterna card as well the last auction. So he said, Santa's going to be in King Cryptid, right? I said, well, yeah, next year. And he goes, okay, I want to get, because I said only Alterna characters on these cards. And he goes, okay, I want to get a Santa Claus. So here we are. Here's Santa Claus. And thank you, Doc. Appreciate that. So again, I'll offer full color cards next year. The next week or two, I want to focus on the 1 minute and 5 minute cards. Get those done real fast. And thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. And this is going to be going out shipping to you tomorrow, Brian, with a bunch of hoodies. And then I'll do a separate shipment for the blankets when they all arrive, because they're on their way. They'll be here in like a week or so. But the hoodies are here. So I got a couple things to send to you, and I'll send the hoodies with them, and you'll be getting those. And then before you know it, you'll get the blankets too. But thank you. So yeah, there's Santa Claus for Brian. That's an example of me taking a little more time and also utilizing color. I use Copic markers on these. I use, for those that are wondering, I also use Uni pen. You can't even see that. It's so small. Look at that. Okay. Uni pen. I like these better than Microns and Copic multi-liners. It's very similar, but I like the ink quality better, the flow of it better, and they're a bit sturdier, in case anyone's wondering. And they're kind of affordable. Last time I bought them, it was like for a 5-pack of different ink nib sizes. It's $10 maybe, I want to say. So I recommend checking it out if you're looking for something. Spicer, I can. I mean, I've drawn Death Dealer before, but again, just think about, obviously, I'm not going to be, if you're expecting now a Frazetta in 5 minutes, I can't do that for you, but I can do a Pete after Frazetta in 5 minutes and make that of it what you will. So I'm happy to do that, but of course, just curb your expectations a bit. I'll do my best though. I'll give it my best. But I've drawn Death Dealer before. I can't remember if it was like because I used to do like 2 minutes and 3 minute cards also. But I can't remember if it was a 1, 2, 3, or 5. I've never done 4 minute cards. But I can't remember if it was one of those. But I've drawn that before. So yeah. And same qual, I'll do my best. I'll whip out the paints. So yeah, Spicer, if you do want one, let me know. Again, publish in Pete. I'll write it out actually, because some people might put the G in there, and there is no G. It's not publishing, it's publishin'. So just publishinpete@gmail.com. Get the requests into me that you guys would like, and I'm seriously, I'll draw whatever character you want. I'll even draw someone's requesting their wife, for me to draw their wife. I've showed it before, the 5 minute for art book. Those were all the ones that I showed today in the previous examples from years ago. Those were all in the 5 minutes for art book. I drew like over 100 5-minute sketches, and then we turned it into a book, and everybody got the original and a book. And maybe I'll do that again at some point. Maybe I'll do a 5 minute for art book again. Maybe, who knows? It was fun. Maybe I'll put it together. Charlie says, how much are the 5 minute ones? The 5 minute ones are $25, and shipping's free. So they're a flat $25. So if you are interested in one, again, I only got a couple spots left. So guys, make sure to get them in there. Again, send the email, and I'll take it at a first come, first serve basis. So yeah, send me an email with what you'd like. In terms of the 1 minute card is $5, and the 5 minute card is $25. Free shipping on both. You can get as many of the ones as you want. Pretty much, there's like 40 spots left, but there's only 2 left of the 5 minute spot. So you can get 1 or 2, and if you're lucky and you got in there, then you got in there. But again, tomorrow, no matter what, tomorrow's the last day I'm taking these, because I don't want to get too many taken on and not have enough time to finish them before the year's over. So other than that, thank you guys for taking a look at my art. I appreciate it. I see a lot of really nice comments in the chat. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah, it means a lot, especially like I said, this time of year. It's out of nowhere, unexpected expenses, and you guys are helping me out of a jam, and also hopefully getting something cool. So thank you guys. All right. So without further ado, we do have a guest here. And Spicer, any editing services available? Not at this time. Not at this time. I might start opening up that kind of a thing next year, though. I gotta see how stuff works out. Because I got a big announcement on the Alterna Comics channel this Saturday. We're gonna kind of have like an impromptu holiday party. I know we sort of did, but this announcement is too good to not have a party out of it. We got a couple announcements actually. So we're gonna have like a fun little, lower tier priced, I guess maybe you could call it that, auction, just to get some cool stuff out to you guys. A couple alternative people will be there, and then we'll also have some really fun news to let you guys know about what's gonna happen for 2024. But yeah, so that's the 23rd. That's this Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern. Okay, we got a person here waiting in the wings. Let me bring him on. And again, I'm only going to have a show on tonight for an hour, so keep that in mind. There we go, open lines. Here we are, George Peter Gatsis. What's up, George?
I just dropped in to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, Pete, to your wonderful team at Alterna and the chat.
Thank you, man. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you, too.
Awesome. And I look forward to your announcement. When's that again?
On the Alterna Comics channel on YouTube, and it'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. This Saturday, the 23rd.
All right. Awesome. And hail Comicsgate and everybody else. And Pete, take care.
Take care. Have a great night.
You too.
Oh, okay. That was fast. Okay, anybody else? Feel free. You could pop in for as little or as long as you'd like until we get somebody else popping along too. There is the invite link in case you guys want to join. Again, I'm just going to be on for about an hour tonight. So whatever you guys want to talk about in terms of, comic related would be good. But in terms of anything else, paranormal related is fine too. Cryptid related is fine. So whatever you guys want to talk about, though, whatever's on your mind, come on the show. Let me know. We got about, 35 minutes? 35 minutes left. We've been doing this for about 25 minutes. So there you go. There's a link. Don't be shy if you do want to come on here. Otherwise, if you can't come on or don't want to come on and you've got questions in the chat, please feel free to ask them there too. I'll be taking a look and doing my best to answer what I see. And Spicer says, let me know. I want to be first on that list for me being your editor. I appreciate that, man. And, that brings me to something. I mentioned it the other day when Adam Post was on about kind of what I foresee as the evolution of Alterna Comics. I really think we're going to end up becoming a publisher / retailer or a reseller, however you want to phrase it, of other people's books that I think are great and would do well, and the audience at Alterna would also like. So I'm not publishing those books. I would be buying those books, reaching out to the creators, selling them, seeing what I could do in terms of getting those books to put them listed on the Alterna site under, a separate tab type of a thing, like other publisher or whatever it may be. Of course, it could also be populated into the mix in terms of genre, age rating, all that kind of stuff that we have on the site. But the biggest reason that I think I'm going to be doing that is because, to be perfectly honest, when I started doing this and wanted to have Alterna as a publisher and I wanted to start publishing other people's books, it was mostly just to help people out. People were having a really tough time getting their stuff out there, and it wasn't like I knew anything or everything or whatever about publishing. But I figured, like, okay, there's strength in numbers, and I'm at the time I was like 22. I figured, okay, well, I could get other people's books on here who are having a tough time alone, and maybe we could help each other out. And the biggest thing you need as an independent is a network of people who you guys can both be each other's wingman in a way. You can help each other out. You could put each other's books. You could promote each other and help each other. So Alterna was kind of born out of that spirit, and I wanted creators to have 100% ownership on what they did and the lion's share of the royalty. But creators don't really. I'm in a different point now in life, obviously 17 years later, but creators don't really need a publisher in terms of what I can do. I find, and some do. Some do. Like we can collaborate, and it's an enjoyable experience, and many others that I want to work with. They're self-starters. They're entrepreneurs. They don't necessarily need a publisher. Maybe they need an editor. Maybe they need a graphic design person or a letterer or something else. Maybe they need a place where this is what I really think too. I think people need sort of a hub, not like centralization in terms of one sole person or website, but it would be great to see several pop up. A place where people could go and they know that they can get a bunch of the comics here and save on shipping and everything else. And this is aftermarket stuff. And what I mean by that is after they would do crowdfunding or whatever they want to do. If they have some overstock and they want to sell some to me at a discount, and then I could put it up and sell them. I think that's how Alterna is going to evolve. And I already have more than enough to do in terms of, I'm not going to do like pick anybody's book and sell them and resell them, that kind of a thing. Stuff that I think the Alterna readers that are there for the books that are here already, I think they would like. Like I would publish it if I could, that kind of a thing. But I wouldn't want to be their publisher. It's a whole different mindset. So I think that's how we're going to evolve, because that's what I can do. That's the position that I can put time and effort into doing. I want to focus more on what I'm doing. I want to focus more on what a couple of different creators at Alterna are doing. And I want to focus on a couple of the things that we'll be talking about on the 23rd that are going to start really taking up not a lot of time in a bad way, but it's going to require my attention and focus more than in the past. So that's, I don't know, maybe down the road, an hour, a year or two. I don't know how it would be here sooner than that, but just letting you guys know that that's kind of what's in my head, because some people go, are you going to expand on the line? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And to be honest, the people that I see that are out there that are doing great, they don't necessarily need a publisher, and I don't plan on going to distribution either. So I can't offer them that, and I'm aware of that, and that's something that I think people would maybe think is a valuable service. I would recommend trying to stay away from it until it really is in a better spot, but people could do what they want. It's just more about me being honest with, okay, here's what I can bring to the table, here's what my strengths are, and I think I could be of help and use to people in a better way as a editor or as something like that, as opposed to being like a publisher. And then I can focus more on my books. Like I said, I can get King Cryptid out. That's a goal too, to get King Cryptid out twice a year in terms of 10 to 12 issues a year. Do campaigns that have like either 4 to 6 issues on each of them, depending. And then also, like I said, focus on the books that are at Alterna that I really want to give my time and energy to. In terms of expanding and everything else, I'll talk more about that on Saturday. But the landscape is changing. It's evolving really, really fast. And it's important, I think, to survive this kind of a landscape, you really have to do your best to predict where it's going to go and where you see certain things not being done. If you can do them, try to do them. And my whole purpose is to just try to help people make comics, much to my detriment, to be honest, over the years. So I've put myself in a pickle over the years in some cases, and I don't want to do that anymore. So that's another thing too. But I still want to be a big part of what can come, and I think it'd be great. I think it would sound fairly exciting, to be honest, especially the way I would want to implement it. So I see a bunch of questions from you guys in the chat. Before I get to those, I do have somebody waiting in the green room here. I don't want to keep them waiting any longer. So JD Gunter, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Pete?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. So my question is, it has to do with the mechanics of everything that you do. You're announcing new things that you're doing, And this is in addition to everything else that you're doing. You've got Alterna Comics, you've got things that you're drawing, titles that you're writing, and obviously you've got you got two YouTube channels. My biggest question is, how do you organize your time if you've got so much to do? And I would like to try to be that busy in the coming year.
I just don't sleep or eat. 17 years of no sleeping and eating. I'm proof positive that you can do it too.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a funky sleep schedule. I've gone over that before. It's a weird sleep schedule. I don't recommend it for most people. I don't think most people could probably do it, and I didn't.
Okay.
It came out of a weird bunch of different things, but so it's you get sleep whenever you can, and then you work whenever you can. It's a lot of work though. I don't necessarily recommend trying to do what I am doing. It's like 100 to 120 hours a week. In terms though of prioritizing your time, it's mostly, I would recommend writing down what you want to do, what you plan on doing, and create a hierarchy of what are the things that are the most important to you, and then as of what are the things that are most important. Like you write down, you want to make a story, you want to build YouTube, you want to draw, you want to do whatever it is. Then think about how much time do those things take, and I mean overall, not just in the little task. So at that point in time, you're budgeting time constantly, and you're prioritizing and reprioritizing. There's always a bunch of different fires that pop up every day that you end up going, man, everything I wanted to do today, I didn't get to do, even though I did 100 other things. So it'll feel like on those days you didn't really do much of anything. But you did what you had to do because other things popped up, other problems came up. For me to be more specific with it, I guess, what is it of the things that you do want to do?
Well, I have I have a campaign that's coming up. Levi Steen, who is in the chat with us right now, we're gearing up for a campaign. We're going to try to do it in 2025, and it's a pretty cool idea that we've been working on for quite a while. We have a significant number of pages. We've got everything written, but I'm very, very new to this crowdfunding thing. Basically, what I've been writing over the past few years is more fiction, prose. Levi and I have been working on things since about 1995. And then as comics, as an industry, basically was just like the Titanic going down. Both he and I, while we never really we were still buddies and hung out and stuff like that. We never really worked on a whole lot. And when the crowdfunding thing really started to come through, when it really started to blow up, we were kind of looking at each other and going, "Hey, let's try this. Let's do this." So I'm actually, he and I are going, let's get our name out there. Let's get this title out there. Let's get this idea out there. So working full time and trying to get everything done, I'm just realizing the amount of jobs that both of us are going to be doing here. And I'm taking a look at you, and I'm seeing, oh my gosh, all the stuff that you're doing. You're obviously you're like a media producer, as well as like an artist and a writer and things like that, an entrepreneur. So I thought I'd just jump in and say, how the heck do you do it?
Okay, well, for the first 6 or 7 years of Alterna, I worked like 2 to 3 other jobs at a time. When I was doing that, the most important thing for me was to build up awareness on some level, and that was meaning building up a newsletter, a website, keeping up social media in terms of updates on what I'm doing and on what the progress of a book is, or on who just came on to work on something. Or as far as a lot of creators, I notice some of them, they'll have social media pages or whatever they have, and they say they create comics, and then you look at their page and you're like, are you sure? Because I don't see anything that has to do with comics. And then they wonder why they're struggling in terms of getting attention and notice for their comics. Like if they're an artist, and I'm wondering where's all their art. If they're a writer, I'm wondering why don't they ever talk about their books or their philosophy on writing, or their approach to it, or what their characters are about, or what their stories are about, or their ideas for stories, or their ideas for future stories that they're working on, and just kind of teasing things. You don't have to be spoiler heavy, but I noticed there's a lot of, and I'm always having this talk with alternate creators. I'm always telling them, don't be so precious about it. You don't have to safeguard every single actual aspect on what you're doing. You can still talk about your characters and explain them in vague or broad terms. Talk about their personality. Talk about how they would handle a theoretical situation. Talk about what they're going to be up against in the next story to come. You don't need to. If you're a good storyteller, if you're a good writer, especially, you know what is a surprise in your story. You know not to spoil those surprises.
Yes.
So everything else you do, other than spoil those surprises, is up for game. Talk about it. And a lot of people, I find, don't want to do that. They want the people to discover it in the book, and I appreciate that. I understand that, but at the same time, you're not talking about a property that you're working on that's been around for 70 years, and people already know what it is. So you want to get people interested, and maybe you turn some people off, but I guarantee you'll turn way more people on if you are excited about what you're working on and you talk about it. That kind of excitement is infectious in the best possible way. But in business matters, the biggest hurdle that you're going to find when it comes to anything where there's crowdfunding or selling is crowd building, is getting people interested in knowing who you are, what you're doing, and then caring about what you're doing. They'll care about what you're doing when they see how much you care about what you're doing. I know that kind of sounds simplistic, but I can't tell you how many people are so talented and they go completely unnoticed and no one really cares what they're doing because they just kind of don't care either. And it's not that they don't care, but they don't let you know that they care. So when you're building up whatever it is to maintain contact with people, to let them know what you're doing, what I did with the newsletter for the longest time, and we still do it, is incentivization. So we have products now, so I'll give like a 10% coupon for the next order if they sign up for the newsletter. Back in the day, before we had a lot of products, we pretty much gave like an issue away digitally for free, or at least a preview. 5 or 6 pages or whatever, you would get a free preview link for that if you signed up for the newsletter. Newsletters are so important. They're old school in a way, but they're so important. Next to that, I would honestly say YouTube's really important, or something like that. Video is just...
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at it this way, right? Any form of video is like getting on TV. TV is still like one of the biggest ways of getting your message across.
Yes.
And then in terms of a newsletter, it's like a direct mail campaign. Like imagine if every comic shop ran a direct mail campaign, every like 6 months to let you know, hey, come in the store, here's a 10% off coupon on your order, or, anything like that. People would be going to comic shops more often, and they're not that expensive to run. Newsletters are almost free to run until you reach to a certain point and you have a lot of people on that newsletter, and then it's great. It's a good problem to have. So that's kind of like a virtual direct mail campaign, is having your newsletter. That's something I really recommend too. And maybe send out one, unless you're really like firing on all cylinders and you've got a whole bunch of stuff. Like we've got so many things at Alterna, so sometimes I'll do one a week. But if you do one a month or one every 2 weeks, and you're keeping people up to date about things, a paragraph or so, and show an image or whatever it is, or have a call to action of like, here's what we're doing now, sign up for the next crowdfunder, or a new product came out, check it out. As long as you're doing that and there's a point to the newsletter, it's not just kind of like a diary where people are
Yes,
like,
yes.
reading, because there's a whole other thing for that. You could just do a blog. And
Right, exactly.
yeah, so there's all kinds of things to do to get out there, to get people to be aware of what you're doing. It starts very
Hmm.
slow at first. But if you don't ever start building those things, by the time you wish they were around, you're going to be so much more behind, and you're going to wish that you started a year or two or
Right.
three, back when you thought like, what's the point? No one's going to sign up for that. And then by the time people are interested and you wish they were there, you could have had 3 years of work under your hat. So I really recommend doing that and focusing on that, and building up
Hmm.
as much as you can. If you do videos, which I do recommend too,
Yes.
be honest with your experiences. Be honest with what you're doing. Get out there and talk about your characters. Talk about why you're doing this. Talk about why you're creating what you're creating. What it means to you. Why it's important to you, and why it
Hmm.
means a lot for you to share this with others. Too many people view promoting like selling. They're similar, but they're not at the same time. Promoting is like sharing. Promoting is like, I just want you to be aware of, I don't know, of this piece of
Hmm.
tape. Look at this tape. This is great. I didn't say anything about buying it. I'm just showing you, hey, this tape is great. I think it's great. You should really check it out. It's awesome.
Hmm.
I love using it. It works out wonderfully. By the way, this is Tape King, in case anyone is interested. So, that's not, I didn't tell you where to buy it. I didn't tell you how much it costs, nothing. It's just about
Hmm.
showing your excitement and sharing it with people. Now, when you go, and this costs $5, you can get it at alternacomics.com. If you say something like that, that's selling. There's a
What
call
you're
to action.
telling me here, what you're telling me here is this is sales and it's communication.
100%.
That's basically it's sales. And when people hear sales, it's like, well, that's a grown up thing. That's a boring person thing. No, you're not going to be able to excite people unless you give them a reason to get behind what it is that you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
sales and it's communication.
exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's only like a skeezy, sleazy thing if what is like this tape. Guess what? Doesn't really work.
Uh-huh.
You want
Yes,
to you want to
yes.
tape your boxes with this? I tell you, it's great. Guess what? I know it's crap. That's when it's a skeezy thing. But if it's something that's great, if it's something you think people will find use in, you think that they'll enjoy it, they'll
Hmm.
get something out of it,
Yes, exactly.
then
It's
yeah, that
dishonest.
exactly. So there's that's a whole different aspect of it. So if what you're doing and it means something to you and it's important to you, share it with people. Let them know. People love being on that journey. I think that's why people
Hmm.
enjoy crowdfunding stuff as well, because they love being a part of that journey. Are there people who abuse people's trust when they're on that journey? Sure. But that happens with anything and everything, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But a big part of being able to make people feel more confident about what you're doing, is by you displaying also confidence and competence in what you're doing. Because if you're not, and you just go like, I really don't know about any of this. I don't know how to pack up anything. I don't know how to make a book. I don't know how to send a book to the printer. I don't know how to do any of that. And if you do that and say that while you're running a crowdfunding campaign, don't be surprised if that thing doesn't really fund.
Hmm. Yes,
Now, if you
yes.
have that conversation beforehand, that's an incredibly honest individual. And if you're not asking now for money involved and you're asking to learn, there's a way to build up
Hmm.
trust and also learn along the way. Too many people aren't comfortable with the whole like, well, I don't really know. Let me ask. A lot of people aren't comfortable with that kind of a thing. But most people love seeing someone who's like that, where they're just like, I don't know about this. Let me talk and ask people about it. People love to share their information and their knowledge about
Hmm.
various subjects, and it's better to do all that before you get involved with it later on,
The
and
word
you're
there would
not
be
gonna
transparency.
exactly.
Transparency.
Yeah,
Honesty.
just think about everything you wish the government would do and do that instead. You wish they'd be
Yes.
honest and transparent and, actually care in some
Hmm.
capacity, and do that.
You
Everything they
do what the
do the
government
opposite.
doesn't do, and don't do what the government does. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So it's like that's it. And there's no reason to overthink it. There's no reason to think there's anything bad about it. It's just about letting people know, that you're excited about something and you want to share it with them. And then if they're excited about it
Hmm.
too, and they're into it also, then it's just a natural relationship that's occurring there. So yeah, I really recommend focus on that. Focus on building up. That's a very, very big important part that most people don't think about until it's too late.
Yes.
But anything else?
Nope. You've answered a whole lot, but thank you. Thank you very much for this time. I appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem at all, man. And best of luck to you. Before you go,
Same to you. Thank you very much.
do you
Merry
have any
Christmas.
Merry Christmas? Before you go though, don't go yet. Do you have any place that they could find you at? Anywhere that they could look up what you guys are doing?
We are still in the midst of setting up the structure and everything. If you have another show like this, so for your sake, hopefully that doesn't happen very often. But if I can jump back on again in a situation like this, I should have more information for everybody. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, all the best to you, and again, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Take it easy.
Bye bye.
All right, we got looks like we got Dr. Ben here. What's up, Dr.
Hey,
Ben?
what's going on, Peter?
Hey,
Thanks for having me. Wanted to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the good
Merry
stuff.
Christmas. Happy New Year to you too. Even though, man, everyone's saying Happy New Year. I'm like, man, is it already? Don't rush me.
Yes. Oh, it is. It already is, man.
I'll take Merry Christmas all year round. You know, we could be in the middle of June and someone's like, Merry Christmas. I'm like, yeah, Merry Christmas, man.
I wanted to thank you too. Obviously you're giving out good advice. I mean, that's what I've been on a couple times before just to say hi, and always appreciate your point of view and like sharing your experience. I mean, that's always appreciated, and obviously, plenty of people agree too. So I figured I would give you a good question about cryptid stuff. Are you good with
Oh, okay. Yeah.
shifting gears into cryptid
Yeah,
talk?
let's do it.
Okay. Some folks who are like Christians, or I suppose other religions too, don't really believe in the existence of actual aliens or Mothman or Bigfoot or whatever, but they view that they're demonic entities that are trying to, I don't know what the word would be, like mislead people or confuse people, like portray themselves as an alien when actually it's like a demon or whatever. And I just wondered if you've ever given much thought to that with your own cryptid stuff, or you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's and I don't mean that in any sort of offensive way. Like I'm a Christian myself, so I don't.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
that is a common thing in terms of what people talk about that this could be. And
Right.
honestly, I don't really take that off the table because no one knows definitively.
Right.
I think there's some stories that, man, it sounds like that. It sounds like you didn't meet an alien or anything. You met that's a straight up demon.
Yeah.
But then again, also it's like, well, what's a demon? I don't know what the hell a demon is either. I never really, it's these things that once they start getting out of our periphery and it's like hard to quantify in a tangible way, in a scientific way, and in a way I think that's easy to explain to someone else without them feeling like they can go, well, can you reproduce that? And you're like, well, not really.
No.
So it could be that. I don't dismiss that. The only thing that I don't like about anything is when people are blatantly dismissive. I'm kind of open to everything that the realm of possibility is expansive.
Right.
There's some things where I'm like, okay, well, until we've seen enough proof, and there are a few things obviously that are like that, where you're like, okay, well, we can kind of dismiss that as an option, even though some people will want to take some of these things and run with it and say that they're still an option. Then I go, okay, well, why would it be an option, and why would then all the other proof be dismissed? And usually people, it depends on the subject, but it's more like a gut feeling kind of a thing, or someone told them something about something. So when everything is boiled down to, well, I heard because someone said what this person said, what that person said, which a lot of this field is. A lot of
Right,
the
right.
paranormal and everything is like that. then I have to go, well, then we can't conclusively know and definitively say anything. We can't dismiss it necessarily, and I think that's a mistake to do that. But there's also a lot of things that obviously pop up where some people are manipulating a story, or they want attention, or they're trying to come up with some fantastical excuse for something completely mundane, or maybe even to get themselves out of a weird scenario and say, oh, the Bigfoot destroyed my car, Dad.
Right.
I totally didn't, drive it really badly and was partying with friends and not paying attention.
That's what happened
you
to
know?
me. That's
Yeah, so there's all kinds of things like that, but that's what makes it tricky, and I think that's what makes it difficult, and also what makes it forever interesting, because you're never going to know 100% definitively.
right.
Uh,
Right.
and some things you might eventually know. Some things we might see certain things be provable one way or the other. But it's interesting to me with the demon thing, because it's all based on word and legend and folklore and stories of generations and generations of what these things can do. And if what these things can do is of that nature, then it's difficult to say that it wasn't that. But then you also have to go, well, what had occurred within that experience that would make you think it was demonic? Was this entity trying to harm you? Was it trying to get you to harm someone else? Was it doing something that put you in a negative state of fear or anything else on that level? And then it took advantage of that. And as I say all of that too, there's people who do that all the time, and they're not necessarily demonic or cryptids or aliens or whatever, as far as we know. So there's all kinds of things that can happen. But yeah, it's an interesting subject to explore, and
Right.
and I think each and every one of us has some kind of something that we say to ourselves to explain the things that we can't have a 100% grasp on. And some people dismiss it and are very skeptical and go, well, there's obviously a sound explanation for it. I just maybe don't know what that is. And then other people come up with a fantastical story. So we all handle things in a different way. So that's what I think is so interesting. And as a storyteller, I think it's important to be able to take advantage of all different angles when telling that story. Otherwise, if you end up having like that one angle, and you might believe a certain thing 100% with your own heart, that's what
Right.
it is. But if you're a storyteller and you can't convey other perspectives, I don't think you're going to make very interesting stories.
Well, I think from like a storytelling perspective too, like look, like with Lovecraft stuff, right? You're familiar with like H.P. Lovecraft. With his stories, he had it from the perspective of like all these entities are like, these gigantic beings from space that don't, good and evil aren't even concepts to them, because we're less than ants to these gigantic formless mass. And then when other writers came in after he was gone, they put their own spin on it of like, these are the good Cthulhu entities, and these are the evil ones, and it changed it entirely, because Lovecraft's whole conception of horror was that we fear the unknown. So as a storyteller, he wasn't trying to put everything into those definitions of good or evil, or this is exactly
what our human morality would define things
right.
as.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So just figured I'd throw you like I said, a cryptid question to see.
What do you believe?
perspective
Do you believe that they're demons?
In some cases, definitely. Like, but I don't. I don't rule out the possibility that there's other entities that are in space, or that are from other planets or dimensions, or whatever you want to call it. The other thing is, like, when I'm like doing like working on stories, like I kind of get into the mind frame of like whatever I'm in. So like the story I'm working on is sort of along the lines of like a false history, almost like a flat Earth realm sort of thing. So in that case, everything is based on based on like a Christian kind of theology, but like more like extreme. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm definitely in the mind of like alien. Like right now, for like storytelling purposes, the aliens are demonic entities, and they're. But at the same point, I'm not ruling out like we have different Bigfoot or the different all the sort of like smaller cryptids, chupacabra or whatever. Like, I'm not saying like chupacabra is a devil so much as it would be just an undiscovered creature or whatever. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes the subject so interesting for so many, is that it lets the imagination run wild.
Exactly.
So it's kind of sad when something does get discovered, because then it's not a cryptid anymore.
For sure.
But yeah, there's a lot of things out there where I could see people thinking they're those things, or at least believing them to be those things, and whether they're correct in that belief or not is difficult to say. It's practically impossible to say. So that's the one thing I don't really. It's. I think it depends also what subject we're talking about and what specificity of what's the context of the thing, of the situation. Because like to blanket term it, you really can't do that. And then to, like you were talking about, like with extraterrestrial life forms. If there isn't, there's so much whatever out there.
Right.
If we're the only planet in all of existence that has life the way we have it here, man, I would have to question then how powerful is God at that point. It would make me question that. If anything, I would think it's of course. Why wouldn't there be?
Right.
Lord knows how many of these things. Whatever you would consider God, it doesn't have to be even just a Christian God or whatever, or a God of any religion. We more than likely, we're all talking about the same damn things, and we use different words for it. And I think the sooner that we can kind of understand some of that and make some peace at least with it, and then at least acknowledge the rest of it has become culture by human beings built upon traditions that have come over time, based upon your viewpoint of the world, your background, etc. I think the more that we can kind of come to that and realize, oh crap, like it's kind of all the same stuff. Maybe there's some differences, but it's all relatively the same thing we're talking about and using different words for it. But the concept is relatively the same, and maybe then we can stop petty squabbling and killing each other over nonsense for centuries upon centuries. But it's
a pretty big one.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, is that there's even got to be an answer for that. There's got to be, because I'm really even inclined to think like maybe we, as in human beings, maybe we don't necessarily have roots that trace all the way back to always have been here. Maybe something happened somewhere else, or we were brought, here.
Right.
And again, I don't know. Who knows? It's just, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of odd things.
What do you think about that alien thing they had in Mexico?
I like the one more that they didn't really talk about. The mummy that they didn't really talk about, that didn't look just like a mini statue.
Like a cake or something. Like
yeah, that thing went around, and yeah, I saw the memes about it being cake. But the other one that they didn't really show, that had the elongated skull and was dead on a mummy. They didn't really show much of that one, but they made a whole big stink about the little guy that just looked like a carving. He didn't really look like he was mummified.
Was it a skull in the U.S. Congress, or was it in the Mexico too?
In Mexico, yeah. See, that's how much
Really?
they didn't really talk about that one.
Wow,
There were yeah.
I'll have to look that
Yeah.
one up, definitely. For sure.
Yeah, panspermia. Yeah, in terms of life from here coming from other parts, and it's scientifically at this point proven too that we've been bombarded by all kinds of things. We've been bombarded by all kinds of space life, whether it's viral, bacterial, or whatever. Minerals for sure,
Right.
and Lord knows what's coming on comets and asteroids and all other kinds of stuff. So there's all kinds of strange things in this solar system, let alone in this galaxy and then in the universe. Uh, to sit here and I think be definitive about it is kind of sad. And I could see where some people would say that like no, we're definitively the only whatever that could ever have existed, and it's just us. Okay, that makes me sad though.
Well, I liked. You've seen the Mothman Prophecies movie, right? With
Yeah, yeah,
when there's that point where he's talking to. He goes and he finds the special like UFO researcher. He's got to track him down, and he's like, "Well, I don't know what it is, but like once you notice it, and you really start paying attention to it, it will notice you, and then." Like all the bets are, then it'll just mess your life up. And he's like, okay. And like, that's the other thing, like I always think about with it is like the stories of people that like, like they have some sort of like, encounter, whether it's with a UFO or some sort of, the Mothman or whatever. And like afterwards, it's not like, they're not better for it. You know what I mean? Like it ruins their life, or they become obsessed and just, like you said, they're not. You can never really define it because how are you gonna? So that's what I'm saying. It's stuff that I definitely find interesting. Definitely, like.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's all kinds of things where people that have allegedly had encounters with cryptids or Bigfoot or whatever have had radiation sickness, have developed like fast acting cancers, all kinds of different EMF frequencies allegedly coming off of these guys, and a bunch of other kinds of things. Same thing with aliens too. And why not? If you do meet an actual alien, the amount of cosmic radiation that's all over their ship, all over their person, and things like that, man, that wouldn't be healthy for us. And not to mention what kind of anything else that could be on them, bacterially or virally, that would be fine to them, but not fine to us. So there's all kinds of things that could happen that you could explain it. I'm a firm believer, though, that whatever we think can't be explained right now and is paranormal and unknown and metaphysical and whatever, there is an explanation, and it's probably very mundane, and we'll know in hundreds or thousands of years from now. The way that you look back and people thought certain things were certain types of whatever, and now it's a very mundane explanation for what it is. So, but it's still interesting, and it still kind of puts a spin on it that makes you think, well, if they figured that out, one day they're going to figure this out, so that's kind of cool. But all kinds of paranormal things eventually will become to be normal and just part of the natural phase of what it is. I mean, we can only see certain things. We can only hear certain things, certain frequencies, certain waves of light, that kind of thing. There's so many things that exist outside of our periphery. So whenever there's things like this that are talked about, I'm always interested in the fact that, there's a bunch of things that obviously do exist that we just maybe aren't aware of, and maybe we'll never be aware of it, but it doesn't mean that they aren't there. Whether they're here to harm or protect or love or care or whoever, I don't know. I can't even begin. It's like the Lovecraft thing. I can't even begin to impose upon what their directive or desires would be.
Right. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. And like I said, like I love with your King Cryptid story, like the idea of him being I can't remember the reasoning behind it, but he was doing all these evil things for hundreds of years. He's doing
He was put in that cursed state, and he was like that for a while until he got his humanity restored. And he was a human, and he was transformed, turned into this creature. so he's put in that cursed state. And so there's a lot to it with that, and he's just not like a straight up creature kind of a thing. But there is a hierarchy of creatures within King Cryptid. There's ones that are like these old, ancient kind of. They've always been almost not elemental, that kind of a thing, but that kind of part of the earth, like these old creatures that have always been in that state, always been in this like cryptid creature monster kind of state. And then there's
Right.
ones that were turned that way through magic, and then turned that way also through science, through technological more advanced means, genetic manipulation, that kind of thing. So there's kind of a hierarchy of them throughout the series, and they all have their different kinds of motives. They all have different behaviors. They're all more inclined to do certain things or look a certain way, or but so by the time we get to like issue 2025, I think readers will have a firm grasp on, if they see a cryptid, they'll know what kind of cryptid that is in the hierarchy system based on how things flesh out. But Dr. Ben, thank you so much, man, for coming on.
Yeah,
tonight.
man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. See you around.
Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I will. Every time.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right.
All right. So let's see. I got one more guest here. I know we're just over the hour. I got a couple of things starred to answer questions in the chat, and I do want to answer those before we shut down the show tonight. So, Charlie, what's up? Just a few minutes.
Hey, Pete. That's all I need. Want to say real quick. I just really, like I was saying in the comments, I appreciate like what you do with the show here, giving tips and tricks to us newbies, like how scripting is not the same as script writing, which I mentioned the last time I was on. I felt pretty dumb about it, but hey. Anyways.
Oh, no reason to feel dumb. No reason to feel dumb.
It's a learning process, but quick cryptid story. My family has gone to a like a Native American sort of ceremony, and they're very into like some might know as like the Red Road, sort of like a Lakota belief. Now the story comes from a family friend of ours who was going through a ceremony asking for like guidance and stuff. And if anyone who doesn't believe in this, that's fine. I get it. But he went out, and this happened in the desert in America, sort of. He went out and like isolated himself and was singing and praying for guidance. And apparently he didn't realize this at the time. He was singing very loudly, and he wasn't singing very well. And it got so loud, apparently, that he swears he heard something very large come around, rip up like where he'd set up a little place to stay, like hide from the rain. He had like a tarp, heavy blanket, and stuff like that. It tore up his place, and it made a lot of noise. And he swears it was man-shaped, so he's not sure if it was
like
Bigfoot.
It was pissed off that he was being so loud.
Oh, it was pissed. It was pissed. The thing is, it didn't hurt him. It just tore up his stuff, and he swears to God that it happened.
That's a common story of that kind of thing happening. Again, it's one of those. Do you say that? Yeah, dude, you just got really drunk and just wrecked your whole place. Or do you say, yeah, maybe that happened to you?
Well, that's the thing. He was stone cold sober, and he was just out there asking for guidance. But, man, whatever he was doing, he wasn't doing it very good.
That's interesting, man.
Something big and hairy was real mad. But, yeah, I'd say stuff like that is out there. I'm not necessarily discrediting either or discounting it, I guess. But
I wouldn't be surprised. What I find too that is really hindering the search for truth on these subjects is obviously a big boatload of government interference. and then to me that lends even more credence to it, because they've dumped billions, if not, you talk about globally, governments have dumped probably trillions of dollars into these subjects. a lot of classified files, a lot of things that they don't want to talk about, a lot of things they don't want to disclose. So if there's nothing there to any of it, why all the time and money and secrecy? So,
Yep.
and again, so it's concerning, because if there's nothing there and it's a cover for something else, then what the hell is that they're covering? And then if there is something there, what's the need for the secrecy level? Because obviously they know something that others should know as well. Like, how can we actually say, and I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg on this subject, but how can we actually preach democracy when having a knowledgeable citizenry is vital to democracy? If you don't have an informed citizen, you can't have democracy. You basically just have propaganda-driven dictatorships that are benign, possibly, if you're lucky enough. So, on this subject, I think it's really difficult. I think we might have been, we might have more headway. We might have more that we're aware of at this point, in a way, if there wasn't that kind of involvement. But there's been a lot of it, unfortunately.
Yep, 100%. It's like I've done a good deal of research into like pre-Soviet and into Soviet Union of like Russia, and one of the biggest reasons that a lot of the crap they got up to that they could is because the populace was not informed, illiterate, and they were just beaten down. It's like when
Yeah.
you get a populace like educated even slightly, if they can read, they're going to be happier, they can do more, and they can learn maybe who to trust and not to trust. It's crazy
Exactly.
to think about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like tale as old as time when it comes to human civilization.
Yeah, man.
So, it's not just anything modern. It's not like modern governments have been, oh, everything before was hunky dory. If anything,
No.
I mean, in some respects, man, some of it is way worse than what we have today. So but it's been going on for such a long time. And imagine having that knowledge, right? Imagine being in this like secret or secret keeper group, and having that access to that knowledge and knowing all of whatever it is to know definitively, yes or no, cryptids, UFOs, aliens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, advanced civilizations that were before other ones, how things happen in terms of extinctual events in human history, having the knowledge to all of that, and knowing that, man, if people were to all know this, then things would be really different and the power dynamic would be completely different. So you always have these people with this knowledge over the generations that have managed to accrue this knowledge and use it, unfortunately, in a predatory way. But that alone, is reason to believe that a lot of these things exist, because there's so much effort to keep a lot of it secret. And what would be the big deal about anybody knowing that, yeah, Sasquatches are real? Yeah, the aliens have visited and they've been here before and they've communicated to many generations of cultures and people and civilizations over and over and over again for thousands of years. What's the big deal? Tons of it's everywhere in terms of, people go, well, where's the evidence? The evidence is all over the earth that there's something that was more advanced than we could possibly explain in our mindset and knowledge today, existed and did things that we can't figure out how they did them. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of those examples. So if someone knows, please, can we please stop being secretive about it? But it makes you think, well, is there a reason for why is that secrecy? If they knew how to do these things or that these things existed, what are the implications for that? So I don't know, man. It's weird, and you could go crazy going down that rabbit hole, but I'd rather focus that into storytelling.
At this point, so would I. It's like I think there's a guy who does like a Duke Nukem impression on YouTube for jokes, and he made a short video the other day of when the government. He literally says, "Oh, aliens are real. The government confirmed it. I believed in aliens my whole life, but now since the government's saying it, I'm not so sure. Why are they saying it now?" It's kind of screwy.
Yeah, well, when you have like a long track record of establishing that you can't really trust what these people are saying, that's the other downside to that kind of stuff too, is once you start covering up. Like it's literally how just interpersonal relationships work. If you're friends with someone who you know they're always lying to you, that time it's boy who cried wolf. That one time then that they're going to be truthful to you, and maybe it's really important. Are you really going to believe them, or are you just going to think, nah, this dude always lies?
That's some
Yeah.
elementary stuff, and it just feels like some
Yeah.
people who get into these kind of positions just don't learn it.
Yeah, and especially because they're not in a position either that, okay, when someone lies, how you gain trust back? Well, hopefully you try not to do that again, but you also apologize. You come clean with it, right? So before we need this admittance of whatever, we need apologies. We need people coming forth. We need people coming clean with why they did it, why they covered it up at the time. Maybe they thought, look, this might have freaked people out. We didn't really have a good grasp on it. We didn't know what this tech was about. We were at war with so-and-so as well, so we didn't want to, make it seem as if this was also a ploy on them. You can have very, very mundane, understandable explanations, but again, the fact that they don't even come out with that, it makes it less credible. It makes it seem like it's difficult to believe because a lot of apologies need to happen. A lot of that coming clean for the decades upon decades, if not longer. It all just seems to constantly be getting swept under the rug, and I think that's what's going to make it even more difficult if stuff actually ever does get revealed.
Yeah. Well, we can always try and just hope for the best and persist. I mean, sheesh, we've been through worse. It's kind of the way I
Yeah.
look at it. So
Yeah,
it'll be rough,
absolutely.
but it's how it is. Well, thank you again for having me on for this bit, Pete. And again, thank you for the show. Really do appreciate what you're doing out here, man. And
No
I'm looking
problem,
forward
man.
to the King Cryptid when it arrives.
Oh, thank you, man. Did you order the pre-order or did you order the 1 to 4?
I ordered the 1 to 4. I ordered the first 4 issues, and then I should have ordered the order. It should be in there one signed copy as well.
Okay, did that get shipped out to you? Did it say shipped? Did you get a notification for that?
I don't think so. I actually haven't checked my email for a little bit
All
now.
right.
It's pretty silly.
If you didn't and you don't have a pre-order on there, because I'm sure at this point that I got to all of them, but I might have missed one or two. If you didn't have a pre-order in there, let me know. Send me an email about it, and we'll get it sorted out. But
All
your
right,
order
man.
sounds familiar. It sounds like I shipped it out. I think I shipped it out like a week ago, so
Yeah,
it might be there any day now.
Hey, and if it doesn't, man, hey, look, it's not a rush. You got a lot
It
going
is a
on.
rush.
Sure.
It is a rush.
Oh.
It's important.
Oh, jeez, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pete.
So you let me know and you take your time. But then I won't
man.
take my time. I'll get to it as soon as I can. So thank you,
right, all
Charlie.
right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, have a good one, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Take it easy.
You too.
All right. So I got a couple of things starred here before I go. I want to answer them. I hope you guys are still here. If not, I apologize. Maybe you can catch the replay. Chris Six Strings says, Pete, as a writer, is there a standard royalty to pay illustrators and letterers? Are there royalty laws? I mean, that's a very dicey area. Some people don't really, like, if you're setting up your thing as a writer and you're hiring people, generally, most people don't do the royalty system. Maybe some people do a little bit of that. Everyone is different, is basically what I'm saying. Whatever you agree to with who you're hiring and working with, and what they agree to, and then get that written down as soon as you can, and all of that. Then that's what it is. In terms of the royalty law situation or anything else like that, again, it's the same thing as what I just said. It's in terms of what people are agreeing to, and how you guys stipulate that. But most people tend to, like, if you're a writer hiring an artist or a letterer or whatever it may be, most people do like a page rate, that kind of a thing. Some people do like a page rate plus deferment of royalty, or kind of profit on the back end. Everyone's different. And I've worked with all kinds of different versions of those sort of contracts, and they're all over the place, and they're just come up with something that you think and the person that you're working with thinks is fair, and move forward from there, and do your very best to live up to it. Dale A says, Pete, loved your show with Adam Post. Hope to see you guys have more conversations next year. I appreciate that, Dale. I'll definitely have him on again once or twice next year. Absolutely. Dr. Mask says, I think graphic design is something a lot of creators don't think about. Any advice in general? Did a whole show. I did a whole show on that, and I agree. It's something that most don't really think about too much. Logo design, graphic design, it's all, everything's under the umbrella, of course, of graphic design. But the placement, the composition of said things, the typography, all of that, every aspect of it. The man, I did a whole show on it, and people seem to enjoy it. So I recommend if you're thinking about that kind of thing, give that show a watch. I went over a hell of a lot. Not everything, because there's so much, but I did go over a lot having to do with graphic design and comics. Spicer McLeroy, and that was probably like maybe a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. Sounds right to me. Spicer says, sounds like a good idea. Being known as the hub for the best indie comics is going to be a nice place to be. I think so too. You know, I think seeing that as the evolution of the way it needs to be. Every single thing I've ever done in comics, other than making my own stories, has been about trying to help creator and unite with reader. And, you know, if you guys have been listening to me over the past couple of weeks, but maybe months or years, I've mentioned time and time again that I'd love to see, you know, retailers dig in to the amazing indie books out there, and they're independent business owners and entrepreneurs. We're independent business owners and entrepreneurs. I'm not saying make your whole store at all. I'm not saying make your whole store an independent indie hub, but diversify a bit and treat those books with the same level of respect and shelf placement as you would whatever else. Otherwise, if that's not going to be the case, what's going to happen is essentially what's happening right now, which is where many creators are going completely entrepreneurial, carving their own path, selling their own stuff, and to the detriment of the retailer because they get no piece of that action. And the more that customers go into the crowdfunding direct sales, truly direct sales approach, right to the creator, right to the publisher, the more the retailer is going to continue to suffer. And again, it's at their own hand. They don't need to do that. They don't need to suffer at that level. Just start working with some independent creators. Start reaching out to them. And when those creators also reach out to you, retailers, be open to that. I've seen the stink eye. I've seen the daggers thrown when you approach a retailer and you tell them, I'm a comic creator. Would you like to have my book in your store? And the look, if they could kill, I'd be dead 100 times over. And think about that. It's like you run a store. You run a store. You need product to sell. It's not, I could understand if you don't want to stock it. If you think, I don't know if anyone here is going to like that or whatever it may be. But to merely get approached with the concept and automatically start looking at the person like, oh, great. This guy wants me to buy something from them. That person's also a customer or potential customer of you. And then they're also, if you stock their book, think about how excited they're going to be to direct people to your store to purchase said book. You know, invite them for a signing if you don't want to carry their book in your store. You know, there's ways to go about it. And then maybe at that signing, see how that signing does. Promote the signing. See how many people show up. And then after the signing, if it does well, maybe you go, hey, can I get a couple copies for the store actually? You know, you did great. Some stores have done that. And those stores are good stores. But many stores that I've been at don't. They don't do that. A lot of stores are struggling right now, and they want to look towards the problem to provide the solution, and that's not going to happen. You keep looking to the problem to provide solutions, you're just going to get more problems. You have to look outside of that. And what better place than to look outside of left and right all over the place is proof of concept indie comics that are doing incredibly well and have a ton of people who are interested. You can't tell people no one wants to buy indie books. And then you can go to them and be like, look at all these campaigns that have raised like 20 grand and higher. Hell, even if they raise $5,000 and higher, they're bringing in more money than most independent comics do through distribution. Proof of concept. It should matter. It should matter to these retailers, and for most of them, it doesn't. So that's unfortunate. Aloise, and that's what I plan on bringing, put my money where my mouth is, and stocking those kinds of books and selling them on the Alterna site when the day comes. Aloise says, does the Alterna forum still exist? Yes, it still exists. It's on alternacomics.com. Dale says, I think reaching customers outside the YouTube algorithm is a step this group of new independent comics needs to take. Yeah, it's always good. Always good to do that. Rex says, did you ever see my post about the Sasquatch by my house? I don't think I did. If you want to post it up in the chat, and you're still here to do so, I'll give it a read. If not, feel free to send it to me privately, DM, email, whatever. Man, a Sasquatch by your house. Interesting. So I think that's all the questions there are. Oh, thank you, Cole, for putting up that link about the graphic design video that I did. Appreciate that. And Dr. Ben says this is definitely the time for indie stuff to step up where mainstream comics is lacking. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Fantastic. Yan Zhao says, buy a few copies under the condition the creator does a private Zoom meeting for store patrons. I can't tell if you're joking or serious, Yan Zhao. Either way. Brooding Viking, what's up, man? Hello, as I say goodbye, because I'm going to be saying goodbye in just a second here. But I thank you for being here and stopping by. Rex Doom says, apparently the post was on my suspended account. Ooh, bad boy. I'll DM you the video and picture. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so that's it for me. Everybody, take it easy. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Again, I'm taking sketch card commissions for 1-minute cards at $5, free shipping, and 5-minute cards for $25, free shipping worldwide. Any character you want. Check my Twitter at Peter Cimetti to see some of the examples. I'm already working on some of them. Some of them already got shipped out. I stopped taking those tomorrow, though. Tomorrow's the last day. So send me an email at publishandpete@gmail.com to get yours. I only have 2 spots left for the 5-minute cards, and I've got about 40 left on the 1-minute card. So first come, first serve, and who's responding to me in terms of those 5-minute cards, especially. But again, tomorrow, last day for that. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys. I'll be back again tomorrow night. Hopefully, the guest is here. And who will that be? Don Edwards. Don Edwards will be on the show tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully see you guys then. And hopefully Don's feeling good. Fabrizio is not feeling good tonight, so that's why he opted out. And hopefully Don will feel good and will be here and we'll have a good conversation. See you guys at 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night for that show. Until then, everybody have a great night and an even better tomorrow. See you guys soon. Thanks.